Greetings, comrades. It is I, Miriam, the only Miriam, and thank you so much for tuning in. You see, videos on this channel have been all language lessons thus far. However, today we have something that is more on the cultural or anthropological, that is a word, side. As the title of this video suggests, today we will be learning Armenian etiquette rules. Now, what exactly is etiquette? Etiquette is essentially protocol or a set of rules for politeness or courtesy within a certain culture or society. Now, this video would be most ideal for someone who, let's say, wants to move to Armenia or just visit Armenia, is marrying into an Armenian family, or would just like to revert to the roots more, or even if you have just been invited to some sort of one-time Armenian event. Before we begin, please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your comrades. Don't forget to click on the zangak or the bell icon and comment down below and let me know what sort of content you all would like to see from this channel. I'd love to know. Anyways, let's get into it. Gnatsing. Let us discuss the rules of Armenian style greetings. Now you see, if you are located in the United States, just like how I am, or someplace in North America, you've probably noticed that greetings are really not that huge of a deal. They merely entail saying hello, sometimes giving a firm handshake, eye contact, and sometimes a little hug or more like a pat. I've also noticed that in America, it's very much so normal for people to just stand there and say, oh, hi. I mean, some people don't even greet each other at all here. Nevertheless, greetings are quite literally almost like a ceremony when it comes to Armenian culture. First of all, much like other sorts of Southern, Eastern, or Mediterranean Europeans, Armenians indeed do greet each other with kisses. Now, this might be deemed as overly intimate or a good way to spread germs in America, but in Armenian culture, it is seen as a very warm and welcoming way to greet somebody. It also very much so does, in a sense, soulfully unite people of a friend or social group or a family all together. Now you see, in order to greet each other, Armenians always like to give a hug or even a handshake that leads into a hug, and even men or people of all genders and ages hug each other as a form of a greeting. We alternate between sides when giving machiks or kisses. There are also Armenians where they don't exactly press their lips against the person's cheek, but sort of imitate the sound when they go in for a kiss. Now, here is a little physical demonstration. Can do that, or a lot of Armenians just kiss like. Make sure to also always bring some sort of gift if you are going to an Armenian's house or some sort of social gathering. Never, ever, and I repeat, ever show up empty-handed to some sort of Armo event. You see, even if us Armenians are quite stingy, we truly are even more generous. Furthermore, when you are greeting Armenians at some sort of dinner party or gathering, make sure you go all around the place and greet everyone in sight, essentially. And even if you don't hug or kiss, make sure to at least smile and say hello or introduce yourself. It is quite offensive if you forget to greet someone or at least make an effort to acknowledge their existence. Moving forward, let us discuss clothing or appearances, since, believe it or not, the way that people dress or physically express themselves within a society often has to do not just with the beauty standards of a specific era or a region, but also the values and custom. This is quite conspicuous. We Armenians really do love to dress up, and perhaps even what others call overdress. To be fair, many icons from the fashion industry are or were actually Armenian. If you are ever going to meet with Armenians, or I keep repeating this, but it is just so common to go to dinner parties, social gatherings, or house parties when you are interacting with Armenians. But if you ever attend these sorts of events, make sure to dress up nicely and to look very much so presentable. You see, comrades, at some point I will be releasing a video titled Differences and Similarities Between Armenian and American Culture. And come to think of it, this is probably going to be an entire series on this channel and not just one little video, so stay tuned. But I will be repeating many of these notions in those videos as well. But you see, in America, it's very much so common for people to wear sweatpants or jeans or to look very casual. And while yes, all people do this at different points, Koidik John, you better look your best at a khunjuik or an arit. Also, since we are discussing etiquette, you might want to dress a bit more modestly, and this applies to both men and women. And men don't exactly wear very feminine styles of clothing or very alternative sorts of fashion in Armenian culture. You really won't find Armenian men that have many tattoos, piercings, or even dye their hair and such. Furthermore, interestingly enough, it is also deemed as unacceptable to completely cover yourself in Armenian culture. And what I mean by that is you will never find anyone wearing some sort of burqa or niqab or some sort of entire face and body covering. I mean, Armenians don't really have a need for that anyways because we are Christian and most Christians don't do this. It is more common in other sorts of religions, but it's deemed as rude and very self-centered because it's like you are completely shutting yourself off from the world and that you're turning your face away from everyone and you're very much so being unwelcoming or unapproachable in a sense. Now let us discuss PDA, or public displays of affection. Now you see, holding hands, sitting together, or walking together as a couple is entirely normal in Armenia. And this is actually surprising up to some degree because there are many cultures and nations out there where either forbidden or very much so societally shunned for men and women to interact in public. But obviously going a bit overboard or kissing and being far too intimate are a huge no. I mean, this does seem a bit obvious since Armenians are quite romantic, warm, and affectionate people, but also very modest and very pure in many manners. Next, let us discuss something that is more particular, but more peculiar, if that sentence makes any sense. Let us discuss smiles. In America and in many other countries, I am sure, smiling is very much so encouraged. Everyone loves to flash their pearly whites and perfect straight ivory teeth in practically all photos. You see in many cultures in the Caucasus, Eastern Europe, and even in French culture, smiles are deemed as things that should be genuine and reserved for family members and friends, or the right people in the right moments. Therefore, you will never find Armenians smiling at other people in the streets or when they first meet each other. I mean, if you were to walk around and smile at everyone passing by the way we do in America, people will assume that you are either flirting with them, mocking them, or that you are drunk and there is something wrong with you. I mean, hey, you might be trying to be nice, but you might want to say cheese another time. In fact, I have a new thing where I say that, Americans call it the poker face, but that is an Armenian smile. But another Armenian etiquette rule is that you should never turn your back to other people when you are speaking to them. You see, when it comes to communication in Armenian culture, it is almost mandatory to face people properly and to maintain eye contact. Therefore, if you are sitting in front of someone with your back to them, it is deemed as disrespectful, or that you are shutting yourself away from the world, or that you are ignoring them, turning away from them, giving them a cold shoulder, or pushing them out entirely. Therefore, Armenians actually apologize to one another if they are sitting in a certain way that shows their back to the other person. In fact, we call this mechkov chinistel, meaning to not sit with the back. And an example to illustrate what I mean is, let's say that I'm sitting around this desk and there is somebody behind me. I will have to turn around and say, "Excuse me for sitting with my back to you," just as a way to remind the person that you are not trying to turn yourself away and you are just merely sitting down. Another rule to remember when it comes to sitting and such is that you're sitting with Armenians, not necessarily around a table of some sort, but perhaps in just an assembly of chairs. You always want to face people properly when they're speaking to you, because if you are just merely sitting like this, slumped in a chair, and not facing a certain individual when they are speaking to you, that is also seen as disrespectful or crass. I know that these rules might seem very nitpicky and very unnecessary if you are perhaps from some sort of Western culture, but adhering to these itty-bitty rules can really help make people feel more welcome, and really is a small act of kindness that can turn a stranger into a friend or even a lover. Here are some rules and tips for when attending an Armenian dinner party. First of all, do not worry about the time. You see, this is not just a stereotype, but it's very much so a cultural joke that Armenians are late everywhere we go. I mean, I suppose we're not late, we run on Armenian time, and that's why I post and edit everything ever so late. But it in fact is a reality that Armenians often show up late to social gatherings or quite literally everything. Like, I can't even sit here and defend our actions. If you're rushing out of the house to go to a dinner party, you can go ahead and take your time. Most people won't even show up until 30 minutes to an hour late. I mean, this is why Armenians drive so fast everywhere, because we are late to everything. Furthermore, as I mentioned before, be sure to bring a gift to said gathering that you will be attending. We also discussed this beforehand, but also be sure to greet everyone and to thank everyone. It is conspicuous to why this would be a rule, but be sure to maintain proper dinner and eating etiquette. And actually, do not be afraid to ask for seconds or to compliment the chef or the ladies in the kitchen. Also, if you are non-Armenian and if you are at some sort of Armenian event involving food and you feel as if food is being shoved down your throat and that you can't say no to somebody serving you more and more, just note that this is a way that Armenians show their love. And it's really not done to ignore you or to ignore your nose or, "Well, please no, I couldn't possibly eat more, I'm completely full." And I would say that this is also where Armenian hospitality really does outshine other sorts of hospitalities in other cultures. Now, when it comes to drinking, because let's be honest, Armenian water isn't just water, it is fine to drink as much as you please, as long as you do not become intoxicated. I shall discuss this in another sort of video, but drinking is very much so a part of Armenian food culture. However, it is done in a very tasteful manner, in a sense where clubs and bars don't really exist, since drinking really is seen as an activity that you do around the dinner table with food so that you don't end up vomiting everything out. And it's something that you do with family and friends. And we also give many speeches or toasts when drinking, so be prepared for that. I mean, does it feel like sitting through a lecture? Yes, but it's once again an Armenian display of affection.